Hey guys, let's talk Married at First Sight for yesterday, July 12th, 2026. So, hey guys, so I just decided that I wanted to talk Married at First Sight. I watched the first episode that was released last night. And we met, I believe we met I believe there's seven couples this season. So we met three of the seven couples. So the first couple that we met was Adam and Marissa. And I don't, off the rip, I'm not really feeling Adam. I feel like he is kind of judgmental and I feel like he's full of crap. So I believe um, he's the one with the house on the water, and he gives a bit pretentious, and I don't like that. And then he also made a comment that made me see that he's kind of unbending because they were like, what if she's not athletic or, likes athletic activities? And he makes a comment about, well, I've made someone athletic before. I made them a top athlete or something before. Because what if she's not? That may not be her thing, and that should be okay with you, not something that you should force on someone. So I'm like eyeing him, and I feel like he's a bit pushy and very judgmental. And I wasn't feeling him at all. And I'm wondering how this is going to go because as we, were watching the episode, we actually did see their wedding. And when they get to the wedding, um, and she's walking down the aisle and he turns around and he sees her and she sees him, they knew each other. So they already know one another. And if they already know one another and they're not together, could it be that they never saw it for each other? So is this going to even work out for them? Are they going to go through with it? Because we did see their wedding, but we didn't see them actually exchange their vows and say, I do, like we did with the other two couples. The other two couples, we did see them, actually get married. And we didn't see that with them two because the episode left off where she was walking up to the altar and they recognized one another. So I'm very interested in seeing, do they go through with the wedding, and how and what capacity did they know one another. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about Adam and what do you think about Marissa? I don't think that we got enough information from Marissa um, to know whether, like, I don't have, like, I didn't get enough to get a sense of what Marissa is all about. And I also don't get that Adam's that serious about marriage. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on first meeting these people. The next couple that we met were Felipe and Tori. And I'm confused by Felipe. At the wedding, I was very pulled in and drawn to Felipe because I liked what he had to say at the altar and like in his vows and everything and what he said to her when they were getting married. I did like all of that. However, I again, I don't know. I don't have a good sense of Tori. Like I don't have a good idea of, what she is feeling and what she's thinking. However, I do have some red flags with Felipe, and that was prior to them getting to the wedding. So Felipe seemed very unserious to me as a candidate for marriage because he likes to party. And like, I'm not saying that married people can't party. You can be married and party, go off. But he seems to like to do so excessively. And I don't know that that would be the kind of vibe that Tori would be on. And then he also um showed up late with the matchmakers to every meeting that they had, and they even had to reschedule one. So that doesn't bode well to me for you to be someone's potential spouse, because if you can't, you're getting trying to go through this process to get married, and you can't even show up to the appointments on time, are you really going to show up for the marriage? And I'm just wondering, are he and Tori going to actually be a match? Because I just don't feel good about Felipe at all. He sounded good. He talked a good game when he was at the wedding, because like I said, I was pulled in by what everything he had to say at the wedding. However, comma, I'm not getting husband vibes from him, everything that we learned about him prior to the wedding. Because being late or rescheduling, and it wasn't like he was rescheduling for work, is because he's out in the streets. He's outside, and you can't even turn off outside to prepare for marriage. That's a little bit of a red flag for me. But again, let me know in the comments what you all think about that. And then we have Belle Jolie and Mecca. I'm rooting for Belle Jolie and Mecca. I want them to work out. I don't know that they will, because like I said, this we're just meeting these couples, and so it's still very fresh and very new, and we're still learning these people. But I want to be able to root for them. Now, I don't like Mecca's father, because they were talking, him and his grandmother, him, Mecca, his father, and his grandmother, they were talking, and they were talking about, are they going to kiss at the altar? And the father was like, well, if she don't kiss you at the altar and she gives you the cheek, then I don't know. And so Mecca kind of like went with that, and he kind of let it make him feel a kind of way when she did get to the altar and she did not kiss him. But she said, she tells him, we're just meeting, like that's a bit much for me. So I don't know. They both have complicated familial relationships. Belle Jolie doesn't have a relationship with her father, and Mecca, he doesn't have a relationship with his mother. And then he did have a former stepmother who moved, who his father and she split. And so he has, I would say, mommy issues, and Belle Jolie may have daddy issues. So I don't know. That could cause conflict in the marriage along the way. That will remain to be seen. So, I'm a little concerned about that. Mecca has admitted to having communication issues, and that can dull a marriage out real quick as well. But I like when they were talking, they were all doing their confessionals. They both called, like, she called herself a lover girl and he called himself a lover boy. And I'm like, oh, this is good. They might be able to make this work. But then he also has like fear of rejection and being accepted. So I want to root for them, but I'm not sure. They did seem initially attracted to one another, and out of all the couples, I think they did the most seem attracted. But yeah, we shall see. We have 2 episodes on Thursday, and I'll be back on Friday to discuss those.